The last few days have featured a ton of moves in the 2025 free agency class. Teams are looking to build. They're looking to shed some salary cap baggage. Jay, I'm going to kick it to you first.
Obviously, the big plays are the quarterbacks and where they all landed. Sam Darnold was the big one to Seattle. Seattle losing trading to Vegas, Geno Smith. The Justin Fields to the Jets. Those are the big moves. And then the veteran moves like Davante Adams to the Rams. I like what New England's done. I like what Chicago has obviously done. That's probably the biggest story is how Chicago has beefed up their offensive line, got a few defenders to help out Caleb Williams recover from a slow start in year one.
Who's your surprise move so far in free agency?
I like the Daniel Jones to the Indianapolis Colts move. I think Daniel has a lot of football left in him, ready to play. You know, he's a competitor, the ultimate competitor. Great teammate. Guys love him. Could say the same thing about Anthony Richardson, right? He's a young guy. He hasn't played a whole bunch. I know it's going to be an open competition. I just think that this could be a situation that Daniel goes in and thrives in. I think there's good football coaches there. They've got a good team. They lost a couple offensive linemen. You know, it'd be nice to get another skill guy to go with Michael Pittman on the outside. But at the end of the day, they got our boy AD from Texas. Who's the 14? Pierce?
Pierce, yeah, Alec Pierce.
Would you really be excited about a Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson quarterback competition to start the season, Colt?
I think I have a little bit of an inside track here. Listen, I played with Daniel for a year. He's extremely smart. I think he'll be able to pick up that system really quick. I think he's got better receivers in Indianapolis than he ever had at the Giants in all of his 5 years there. I feel like it's a pretty good situation for him. I think he may have had the opportunity to stay in Minnesota and back up J.J. McCarthy. I don't really know. But I think for him, I'm excited to watch this play out. I think he has a chance to have a really solid year. You know, that division isn't that tough. I think it's a good move. I think he's excited. He's going to go in there and compete, and I think he's going to play well.
Yeah, I like it. AQ, who do you like, and what moves have surprised you so far in free agency? Don't take my team, AQ.
A lot of the moves have surprised me. I mean, I think the biggest one that I saw was Ryan Kelly and Will Fries going over to the Vikings, right? I think Will Fries was probably one of the better young linemen for the Colts. They chose not to retain him. I thought the Vikings already had Bradbury. Obviously, they gave up 7 or 8 sacks or whatever it was to the Rams early in the playoffs. And when you look at that, they go get Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly, when he's healthy, is a top 5 center in the NFL, hands down. I mean, he's been battling some injuries the last couple of years, but when he's healthy, he's proven to be, hands down, a top 3 center.
Isn't that who Jay wanted in the draft?
Yeah, that's who we were supposed to take. That's a broken hand for our GM.
Who'd you take instead?
Josh Doxson.
Great choice.
He was after Ryan Kelly. Relax.
Shady McCoy said it the other day on one of his shows. He called it the bums and backups year of free agents. You look at a lot of these names. Dan Moore from Pittsburgh goes and gets $80 million. They wanted to throw him away out of Pittsburgh for 3 or 4 years, and he goes and gets, a big bag down in Tennessee. And this was an interesting year free agency because there wasn't a ton of huge names, especially on the offensive line market. And it has been not a very exciting free agency.
A couple of names in the team that I kind of liked and looked at was Tampa Bay Bucks. I kind of like what the Buccaneers did. They brought back Godwin. They brought in Hassan Reddick, making some moves to reinvigorate. They had Jalen McMillan coming back from last year. But really, everyone's waiting on the quarterback market to kind of shake itself out. There's one guy remaining right now. Colt, what do you think about some of the names in the quarterback room moving around? You called Sam Darnold to a T. You said 3 years, $100 and some odd million. You said Seattle. That's where he goes. Give me your take on Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think Sam's going to do a good job. I mean, listen, my biggest concern would be they traded off DK Metcalf. They got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Who else is he throwing to, right? They've got a plan. I'm sure they're going to, get somebody in the draft. But that division's tough. You got to play the Niners. You got to play the Rams. The Rams were, a play away from making the NFC Championship game. So we'll see. I think Mike McDaniel's a fantastic football coach, and I think it's a good move for Sam Darnold. But he needs some guys to throw to, right? It's not going to be the Justin Jefferson, and T.J. Hawkinson and Aaron Jones and that whole crew over in Minnesota in Seattle. So. Need some help there, but I think overall a perfect match for Sam to move up to Seattle since Geno went to the Raiders.
And then you mentioned Daniel Jones to the Colts. You like that one. What about Justin Fields going to the Jets? Gets a nice deal. He was over in Dubai celebrating a little bit. He lands with the Jets, and he is QB1 in New York now.
He's athletic. He reunites with his boy Garrett Wilson, new football coach, new coordinators, kind of knew everything, walking into a new situation. I'm not mad at it at all. I think Justin Fields is a heck of a football player. He probably learned a lot last year in Pittsburgh, started off 4-2, played well, but is chomping at the bit to get back out there and go. And so if you're Justin Fields, this is really your opportunity, right? You're probably not going to get another one of these at this point in your career, right? So you got to go out there and perform, make the most of it. And I think he will. I think, Aaron Glenn's a great football coach, and although he's on the defensive side, he targeted, Justin Fields to come be the quarterback of the Jets and of my football team. And I think he'll do a decent job.
All right, and the last name that I want to cover, because you already hit Daniel Jones and you're one of your favorite signings. What about Geno Smith going to the Raiders, getting traded to the Raiders? First off, who the hell is he going to throw to?
I mean, outside of Brock Bowers, who's he throwing to, Jay?
They have plenty of receivers over there that can throw. They're going to be in the market for some major draft weapons, and there's some good ones. Maybe one of your guys from Texas, Colt.
Yeah, maybe. What do they pick, like
6?
6? I don't know. That may be a little high.
A little high for a 4.29 wideout who runs good routes and went to the University of Texas. I don't know if that's too high, Colt.
If you can't get him in the second round, it isn't too high to take him early in the first then, right, Jay? Didn't you give us some kind of quote like that?
Exactly right.
All right, well, we're speaking about skill positions. Some skill guys have moved on from their teams. Apparently, I don't know. Puka Nacua gave his number up to Davante Adams, and he said on Amon-Ra St. Brown, AQ, you showed it to us, he wouldn't have give up his number for anything less than $2 million. So yesterday, the news came out that Puka's giving up his number. So maybe Davante Adams gave him $2 million. Have you guys ever seen someone pay that much money for a jersey number?
There's no chance he did that, right?
I think when I was in New York, a linebacker came in and paid a lot of money for a number, but it was like 100,000. It wasn't.
Jay, how much did Jaden Daniels have to give Tress Way for number 5 last year?
I don't know. I think Tress Way might have gave it up. He's a good dude, but might have come with a price, but I don't expect Tress Way to hold him hostage over number 5 being a punter and all that.
He might get cut instead, is what you're saying?
He just signed a 1-year deal. They re-signed Tress Way for another year, man. That's good for Tress. Got a couple $1 million.
If the punter was like holding hostage a number, is there any punter out there that would you cut him if he was pissing off Jaden Daniels?
I would not cut Tress Way for a number. No. Maybe. If Jaden was really upset, then maybe, yeah.
AQ, have you seen any outrageous numbers put out there for someone to buy a jersey number?
No, I mean, the most I've heard is like $100,000. Like, that's the most I've heard. So when I hear $2 million, that's an absurd amount of money. But
they're selling Puka Nacua jerseys all over the NFL websites and stores. Like, does he have to buy those back?
Puka's more popular than Davante Adams in L.A. And
yeah, I'd say so too.
That's fair.
I think Puka should have kept it.
Maybe it was $1 million. Hey, we need to know, Davante. Let us know.
When you change your number like that, you gotta buy back a bunch of your jerseys. Isn't that the rule?
How many jerseys you sell, Pugh? What number were you anyway?
67, Jay. Come on.
I don't have one of those jerseys hanging up in my closet. Sorry.
I think I got like a 52-cent royalty.
I didn't see one of those in Foot Locker.
You never will, pal.
I love when I get $7.52 deposited into my Fanatics account.
And that's because our parents bought our jersey.
That's right.
Colt would know. I mean, Colt would know what that's all about. Oh, my God. Imagine if Colt got royalties from
5 million jerseys at Texas. How many number 12 jerseys you sell at Texas?
Hey, I've made this much money on jersey sales at Texas,
If this was the year of the NIL and you were doing what you were doing back then, how much money would you have made?
A lot.
Colt would be like an oil and gas tycoon. He wouldn't even have played in the NFL. He would have just stayed at Texas for as many years as possible.
And taken all of Justin Pugh's investment classes for athletes and just said, help me invest this.
Colt, when we do the oil and gas seminar, that's when I need you to come in with the heavy hitters.
Back on track, Justin. Back on track.
Sorry. I'm just talking about money, buying jerseys. Speaking of the skill guys, who was your favorite skill position signing, or give me your top guys?
Obviously, Deebo Samuel, I think if he loses a little bit of weight, gets in shape, I think he's a huge addition for Washington. I love that move. I love Davante Adams of the Rams. And I also love sometimes free agency is about signing your own. And you mentioned it, Justin. I love Chris Godwin going back to Tampa. I think Chris was leading the league in receiving yards before he got injured. Hopefully he comes back healthy. Obviously he's on track because they re-signed him for a lot of money. But I love the Chris Godwin re-signing at Tampa Bay. That's my favorite one.
I'm going to ask 2 receiver names. They were kind of big contracts and a little bit of, it got a little crazy. Josh Palmer 3 years, $36 million to the Bills. And Darius Slayton, Colt, you play with him in New York. He got 3 years, $36 million. Is that kind of what you guys were referring to, or AQ you were referring to when you're like, I might want to strap it up and go play if these guys are getting paid right now?
Yeah, Josh Palmer really has been the epitome of average. Darius Slayton has underachieved his whole career. He's been the number one weapon for the Giants receiving corps until they got Malik Neighbors, and they were the worst receiving corps in pro football. So, yeah, those two guys got really overpaid for their production in the last few years. Joshua Palmer, like I said, yeah, it's crazy that they got that much money. Good for them. They need to make some serious strides in the right direction to earn that money. They both have talent. There's no doubt about it. They just have not done a lot with it.
If a guy is a great player, he has, or a good player, and he has produced, but he also established his culture in that locker room, is that worth anything to a coach?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because Darius Slayton is like Walter Payton Man of the Year, does it all for the New York Giants.
That's important, and that's probably why, and AQ mentioned it last few days about not burning any bridges, being good person, being a good teammate, being good to the coaches, working your ass off, because that will carry a lot of weight when it comes to negotiation time. If you're a total ass, they're going to say, get the hell out of our building. Coaches want good people in their locker room. They want to trust the locker room. They don't want to have spies down there making sure everybody's in line. Guys like that keep other players in line, keep people working hard, keep people on the same page with the ultimate goal in mind, and that's winning. And that's probably part of the reason Darius Slayton got paid, because he is that type of player.
Yeah, exactly. AQ, now you are our resident trench expert. You mentioned the Minnesota Vikings. The Chicago Bears did a great job of bolstering their offensive line. Is there anyone else out there in the trenches that you're like, wow, they just completely revamped, or maybe they let too many people walk and they're going to be in big trouble next year?
Well, Houston let their best offensive lineman out of the building. I understand he had 27 penalties, false starts, and however many other penalties he had, but he was still their best offensive lineman, right? He's a first-round talent. He should have been a top 10 pick. I think Ben Johnson realizes what he had in Detroit, and he went out and got that group. He went out and got a center. He went out and got 2 guards. They already drafted 2 tackles. But I also love what Tennessee did. Obviously, I don't love Dan Moore, but again, they found their left tackle. They went and got him from Pittsburgh. They paid him a bunch of money. They moved J.C. Latham now. They moved him to right tackle, and they go and get Kevin Zeitler, who I think is one of the most underrated guards in all of football. It starts there, and if you can build from there. They still
don't have a quarterback.
Jay, you love Will Levis, right? At 1?
I don't know. I think they might take Cam Ward. I might have to rethink my draft order. I think they might go Cam Ward.
Jay, did you have Kevin Zeitler in Cincinnati?
Yeah, we drafted Zeitler, first rounder, guard. Mike Brown hated it. He didn't want to take a guard in the first round. I can't really stand to take a guard in the first round, but if you guys really like him, we'll take him.
Has anyone drafted more guards in the first round than Jay Gruden?
I didn't draft him. I was an offensive coordinator. It wasn't my position to say, take this guy. That was Marvin Lewis and Mike Brown and Duke Tobin made that decision, not me. I was just on board, clapping my hands. We'll take him. Let's go. Offensive player. Let's go. Any offensive guys I wanted. Me and Zimmer used to go at it. We want offense. Oh, we got to have defense, so yeah.
I love Kevin Zeitler, man. You want to talk about like the most consistent dude ever? He comes to work if it's 0 degrees outside of New York with cutoffs and long basketball shorts and Jordans.
I think he's one of the guys. I think he might be one of the guys that aced the Wonderlic. He's very, very smart.
Him and AQ Shipley.
He's built like he's indestructible. He's never hurt. Like he just plays games over and over and over.
Did you just put him on the spectrum, Jay?
Yeah, he's unusually smart. Yes, I did. New England is a big winner, fellas. I mean, big winner. Mike Vrabel wants to upgrade that defense. They get Milton Williams. They might have overpaid for him because he's a rotational defensive lineman. I get that. They get Carlton Davis, who's one of my favorite corners in the league. They get Harold Landry, a nice pass rusher. And they get Spillane, the leading tackler from the Raiders at middle linebacker. That's 4 players on their defense. That's more than a third of their defense. It's upgraded significantly. They go out and get my man Big Morgan Moses, who he drafted in the 4th round with the Washington Skins, and Mac Hollins, who's a very good role receiver, good blocker, tough, physical, brings that approach to the team to help Drake May out in a running game. So, yeah, I'm very impressed with the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel. Nice work.
They did let their starting center go today. They're going to be out there looking for a center, AQ. You going to strap it back up? AQ, winner, loser, free agency.
I'm not going to strap it back up, but I thought that was a big loss, too. David Andrews is an absolute stud, multiple Super Bowl winner. That's obviously going to be a big piece that they're going to have to fill. For me, it's Chicago Bears.
You can strap it up, AK. I saw you playing pickleball against Colt McCoy. You dominated Colt McCoy in pickleball 4 games to nothing. You still got the movement skills, the side to side.
AQ's good. He crushed me too.
No, he had me running in circles. He just stood there and he was painting corners the whole game. I'm running circles the whole time. I'm like figuring out how this guy, and he can cover the whole half side of the court.
I tried to get up there and film it, but I couldn't get in the damn thing. They wouldn't let me on because I didn't have a key.
That's most places you're not allowed within 100 feet of.
Unfortunately, my spine is not there. My spine is gone.
All right, Colt, who do you got?
Yeah, we hit on it already. I'll be quick. I think the Bucks won free agency, like just signing their own guys back, brought in Hassan Reddick, kept Chris Godwin. I think the combination for Baker of Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and then the young guys, McMillan and them, I feel like that's a very solid core of guys for Baker, and keeping that unit together made a whole lot of sense. Hopefully he's healthy. And then bringing in an edge rusher, right? I don't know all the deals that Hassan was dealing with last year, but the dude can rush the passer. And so I feel like that was a solid move, and I think the Bucks did a nice job.
I like the Buccaneers too. They re-signed Ben Bredesen, who was a good left guard for him. He got a good deal. They brought in Riley Dixon, Syracuse's finest punter. I'm going to actually I'm going to name the Eagles and being like, Eagles, what are we doing? Like, Howie probably has a vision. You don't want to go against Howie Roseman. I'm questioning what the Eagles have going on. Josh Sweat leaves. He goes to Arizona, got a big deal.
He's not that good. That's a great deal for them.
Exactly. I'm just saying, who's going to replace these guys, Jade?
They got plenty of guys. They got 10 draft picks in the draft. He's always drafted good. That's the thing about having successful teams. You're going to lose a lot of players. They definitely overpaid for Sweat. I think the team's overpaid for Milton. That's going to happen, but they had a good rotational system on defense. They got good young players intact with Quinyon Mitchell back there in the secondary. I think they lost Darius Slay, but I think they're going to be fine.
You didn't let me finish my point, though.
You're usually the one sticking up for Howie Roseman. Now I'm sticking up for Howie, and I hate it.
I was going to say it's all going to come down to the draft. Howie doesn't miss. Lane Johnson tweeted out Howie season. I'll just be interested to see how the Eagles reshuffle this team. You lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is the heart and soul of the team, Darius Slay at cornerback. They got all the young talent. Don't get me wrong. Howie's got to go out, and he's got to crush the draft, and I'm sure the Eagles will be fine. All right, last person that I need to know, actually last two people, give me what team they're on, and I'll give you the names. Jay, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson.
I think Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota for a year, maybe a year or two contract. J.J. McCarthy is their guy. I understand it. People say, don't bring Aaron. He's toxic. No, he's not. He's got a good quarterback. It gives J.J. McCarthy a little bit more time to recover from his injury, watch a professional play. I think it would be a great move for him. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Pittsburgh. I get that. But I think for Minnesota to sign him for a year while J.J. McCarthy recovers, I just hate to see Minnesota throw all their eggs in J.J.'s basket, having no practices during the season, only playing like briefly in the preseason, coming off a knee injury. That's a lot on a kid's plate being a red shirt rookie. So I would like him to go to Minnesota.
All right, Colt.
Aaron's waiting on Minnesota. It's kind of what it feels like to me. I feel like he has what he wants from Pittsburgh. It's just he hasn't decided to pull the trigger on that. Does it feel like that way to you guys too? Like, kind of felt like the Pittsburgh was going to be the destination, but then now, sure he's having talk. I mean, who wouldn't want to go throw to Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson? You got Aaron Jones, who he's played with, Jordan Addison. I mean, they got some dudes. So, and it's a good football team. They upgraded in free agency. They went and got a couple of D linemen. They re-signed Byron. Like they got good guys on defense. They went and got a new center and a new guard. Who wouldn't want to play quarterback there? It's teed up. So to me, the longer this goes on, the more like Aaron's saying, man, Minnesota might be the place for me if it's an option.
Does the team remaining, the Steelers, just pick up the pieces and say, all right, we're going to run it back with Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson's won a Super Bowl, man. Like, is he a starter? I mean, he can be. Played good. He played decent at Pittsburgh, but
I'm glad you adjusted the good to decent.
I think Pittsburgh's just kind of playing the game and trying to go figure out who they strategically, who do we want to be here? I don't think they would be just extremely disappointed if Russell Wilson came back and they go draft a guy.
What about, Aaron lives in New Jersey right now. He's close to the Giants facility. There's no way that Aaron might go to the New York Giants, Jay?
Yeah, definitely. That would give the Giants an opportunity to take one of the top 3 or top 2 prospects in the draft for sure, and not have to worry about drafting a quarterback. So yeah, the Giants are, I think, 1 and 1A. I think Russell Wilson could go to the Giants as well. So there's an opportunity there. Obviously, if you're the Giants, you need a veteran quarterback really to count on, especially if you want to take a guy like Travis Hunter in a draft if he's available to run the football team, especially since Brian Daboll is probably on his last year, especially since they've struggled mightily. But they have done some good things in the draft. They've upgraded their secondary. They got Malik Neighbors. They'll get another receiver. They have a chance to really have a bounce-back season, but they got to get a veteran quarterback in there to compete with the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what the hell they're doing. So I think they got to get a lot better.
Well, there we have it. I mean, free agency's happening. Obviously, the draft's right around the corner. If you guys aren't already, subscribe, drop a comment. What was your favorite signing in free agency? And we got a lot of draft coverage coming your way. So stay tuned with the Clean Pocket crew, and we'll see you on the next episode. This episode of Clean Pocket is sponsored by Rose Spark. If you're in the mood, there's no better place than Rose Sparks. It lasts for up to 36 hours, so you have more time to get in the mood and stay in the mood. Row gives you the boost to last longer, so it's more fun for the both of you. Row connects guys with a medical provider 100% online, so there's no awkward conversations or in-person providers. If approved, treatment will ship directly to your door. If prescribed, new sexual patients get $15 off Sparks on a reoccurring plan. Connect with a provider at ro.co/pocket to find out if a prescription at Rose Sparks is a right fit for you. Again, that's ro.co/pocket for $15 off your first order. Springtime, the sun's shining.
Today's my 35-year anniversary. Can they overnight a pill to me today, please?
Rose Sparks, we have your first customer here from the Clean Pocket crew. Go to ro.co/pocket for $15 off your first order.